that clarity that you had suddenly seemed overwhelmed by the material reality that surrounded it. Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot. Now this is a general reading for Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, whatever area of your chart that you want to look at, for the month of June 2020, or whenever you're led to the reading, because whenever you're led to it, if it works, it works. Now, being a general reading rules apply, as in roles can be reversed if somebody else features in your reading. I could be talking about them and mean you, and I could be talking about you and mean them, which can happen. Timing is not absolute, far from it in divination. So, you know, this is for the period of when you are led to it, but it may be something that you simply need to file away in your memory and it's relevant 3 months later. But this is the one I'm doing for June. Now, if you don't know what your rising or your moon sign or your Venus is, there's a link down below for a free birth chart. Definitely always try and, if you're in the habit of watching these readings, try and watch your rising sign. In ancient astrology, that was the most important one of the lot. Down there also is a link to the Facebook group, where obviously I post these videos, plus other readers, plus the astrology videos that I watch, plus the odd interesting thing that I also find that makes me go, ooh. Yeah, come and join us. You can also message me directly through there if you're interested in a personal reading. It has its own inbox. There's also some Twitter contact details down there as well if you want some. And obviously while you're passing, please always do comment for the readings. Basically, I'd love to get your feedback. I love to get your feedback. It's nice to know when what I'm doing is useful and I'm not just sat talking to my laptop. So where these readings are different from a lot of the other readings, they either are for you or they're not. There is a past and a present in my spread, and if the past and the present don't fit, or at least don't fit at the moment, don't try and make it fit. Either file it away in memory, you know, for a time when it might fit, or just move on, watch your rising sign, watch your sun sign, watch some of the other brilliant readers here on YouTube, because the vast majority of them are well worth it. The other thing is, I would like you to ask a question prior to the reading. So take a moment, think about all of the questions that surround you at the moment and focus on one of them. Focus, because energy in, energy out. Your focus gives energy to the reading, and hopefully my reading will give the answer back. And if my reading doesn't, then the active focus, the universe will find a way to answer it for you. So it's a useful exercise in and of itself. So bear in mind that, my mind meant blank there, so I'm a fine one to talk about bear in mind, but bear in mind that the cards will answer what they please. So be aware of all of the questions that you've got floating around you. The focus and the question that you're focusing on sometimes can be a little independent to one another. Not always, and not always not either. So let me bring the cards up. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, if you would please. Certainly subscribe. But I'll remind you at the end, no doubt. Let me bring the cards up and the right camera, if the computer will ever listen to it. There you go. So the oracle cards we have is the angel of being. My soul rests in the truth that my being is eternal. So this very much is a reading, I think, about identity. And I think there has been quite an identity struggle that's been going on, but it's been something that you've been working on, because we have from the Moonology Oracle deck 2 cards. Your hard work is paying off and have faith in your dreams. But interestingly, fear is still very much an issue. So I will find out where that features in the reading. So from the Oracle of Heaven and Hell, we have Irathel. with propagation of light, or my old friend Renove with slavery here. But I'm going to, since this is a number 9 card, number 27 for both of them, slavery is what Renove's astrological degrees represent, but they're not necessarily what Renove represents, who is a demon that goes around doing good deeds and spreading peace wherever he goes, which in terms of medieval rulers wasn't always a good thing, and hence probably why he got labelled as a demon. But from the La Carte Infernale, we've got Gomery, as they call him in here, as I know him as Gremory, a Duke of Hell who manifests as a delicate and feminine being riding a camel, has 26 military units under his command, and is similar in appearance to Paimon, who is one of the kings of Hell. So there's many layers with that. I mean, basically, Gremory is within the Demon Tarot divination meanings, is look for new love or new inspiration. Inspiration might be an issue here. But I'm also really picking up, and I've not done that from this card before, on the fact that he looks so very similar to Paimon, as if he's not quite pretending to be somebody he isn't, but hoping to benefit from appearing similar to. Please don't be offended, Gremory. I'm just talking about the card. But that's what really drew my attention there. Yeah, I just see what happens now. So I feel like you're going through some form of transformation at the moment, some form of transformation that actually feels like a wish fulfillment. It feels like a wish fulfillment where you feel like you're on a stable base. You're having to protect it, but you feel like you're on a stable base and you're ready to... You're waiting for news. You're waiting for the moment to say, right, hello world, bala, here I am. Because you are going through this transformation, but determined to put the end to some form of recent torment. Because there's been a loss fairly recently. There's been a time where you've been forced to study what has been lost. And this was after... Right, I see that you got some, this is the recent past, you achieved some form of clarity about a situation. And then I feel that you went to impose your will on it, imposing what you believe to be the higher good on it. You know, I'm not just saying that it's Taurus being stubborn and saying this is the way that this is. With this Emperor card, Aries energy, we have the Emperor trying to fold one cube into the cube that he's standing on. He's trying to change his very foundations. And the way he's holding that cube, it rather feels to me like it's like some form of hypercube manifesting in our 3D dimension, mathematically, that he's trying to overlay and put inside stroke, outside stroke over his very, very foundation. But that effort involved movement, that effort involved things maybe careering away beyond your control, and that clarity that you had suddenly seemed overwhelmed by the material reality that surrounded it. You notice this Ace of Swords is beautiful. It's like a divine experience that is occurring as it manifests itself, which figures it's being clarified by the Ten of Wands and the Star. Okay, so this clarity was that you had to take on a burden, a responsibility to do something, but it was such a flash of inspiration. It was almost like a religious experience, or certainly a eureka moment, you know, a sort of aha, I see what I've got to do. And so you went ahead and you followed it, but it sort of spiraled out of control and involved you losing... Okay, it involved you losing something. It involved loss that had made you stand back and go, oh, sugar. Now, there was a chance that you could have been tied into this, and there's a chance that Because I believe that whatever you brought into being, as I said, it spiraled out of control, and the Empress here is saying the same. The effects grew and grew. But we have the Devil card here. I've got another one here, but I'll just deal with this one first, because I don't feel particularly bad about that particular devil, but I don't feel particularly good. So there was an option to get chained in the situation, but your passions also hinted at a way out, and I believe that you took the way out because we have the Chariot right underneath it. Yes, I think you refuse to get chained by that situation. We've got the Ten of Swords here with Malthus. And said, right, that's it. I'm moving on. I'm not letting this particular thing deter me, to hamstring me, to keep me locked up. And you use that passionate energy of the devil to surge on forward, even if that initial clarity that was given to you, it hadn't quite manifested the way that you wanted it to, really, had it? But we have the Four of Wands. You were committed to it at this point, and you had the strength to carry on. And again, with this Four of Wands, there's that higher dimensional aspect of it to me. There is a commitment that you made to, I've gone this far, I am carrying on. And finally, we are at the point of transformation. Let's see what clarifies this. Nine of Swords. Yeah. Right. All at once, this transformation offers an immense amount of stress, but you knew this. You knew you'd have strength going, you'd need strength going into this. So it's almost like this transformation is some form of magical initiation experience. You know, it's for you to get the wish fulfillment and the better than wish fulfillment, you have to go through a barrier of such fear. But this fear, okay, Nine of Swords, Ten of Swords, and fear. This fear barrier that you are facing at the moment is something that you have got the strength to go against, and you cannot allow yourself to be trapped by it. And I feel that there is a high chance that you are allowing yourself to be trapped by it, but there is news that is coming in, or that you are waiting for, that will offer you the chance to just stand up and walk out from behind there. You started this process, so I feel that you should carry it on through, else you've backed yourself into a corner. You can't stay still, you can't go backwards, you can only go forwards or get trapped. Now, you are very nearly to the end of this process, but as much as you have moved already, there's further distance to move yet. But you will be moving towards a better place. There's more of a shape, more of an idea of a dream of what you're going to be doing, who you're going to be eventually. Because the more positive aspects of what you've been going through are going to enable you to level up. They're enabling you to surge forward, but it also declares a lot of work that you've got to do. But I really feel like it's creative work. It's also interpretive, which also explains Renault for this diplomacy. There is an element of you receiving information with this Page of Swords here and translating it into a form that somebody else can understand, enabling you to manifest the change that you are wanting and put an end to some pain, some hurt. There's some loss that you've had recently that you are finally going to put an end to, because Death card here, Three of Swords, and my favourite card, the King of Wands. Not the best card, simply my favourite. And here it's almost like you are by your sheer force of will and determined manifestation energy, or what have you want to, you are changing the situation that you are in. You are going, no more rewrite, thank you. And it's where you it's where you are able to break yourself free of some restrictions that I don't think you were actually even aware that was there. And you get to complete this transformation. But when it all comes to a head, it comes to a head fast. So once it comes to a head, right, you finally get this. There's a lot of fear and torment here, which I'm going to have to pull a couple of cards for, because it doesn't say what the fear and torment is. But we have the option of, if you do the work and complete the transformation that you are going through now, and remember, this is, I think I said on my last reading, it's part of the heroic journey. You have the good stuff, then you have the crisis, then you have the character building, let's put it that way, and then you get to the victory and the happy ending, hopefully. Now, you're in the character building phase, okay? But it's ending nicely. It's almost like you can rise yourself above the pain and torment and that sense of loss, and after a while just drop it and say, right, no more. I'm creating a whole new material identity for myself, and really going to surge ahead with it and bring it into the real world. These efforts will be recognized, and your own power will be. This is lovely. 3 of coins, the magician, the lovers. So you're coming into your own power. You are making the choice to commit to your own power, and that choice is recognized, whatever that means. Now, it's not necessarily talking about any form of love relationship with that Lovers card at all. It is a matter of making the choice to commit to your power, which at the moment you keep forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. I can do this. I need to do this. I can't do this. I can't stay here. I've got to go forward. You know, and that's to be expected. You are in the role of Bilbo on his perilous journey to Mount Doom, and there's all sorts of challenges and confrontations along the way. Now, this makes more sense now of why the Enchanted Map Oracle threw 4 cards out at me. So we have Compass, about keep your direction, keep going the way that you planned. Even if your previous clarity turned out to be hampered by the realities of the world, it doesn't mean that that clarity was wrong. It doesn't mean that it was worthless. It doesn't mean that it's led you up the garden path. That clarity has not left you, so keep sticking on that one goal, that you started this transformation. You cannot back out halfway through, but you do have to attend to all the details, and you have to maintain your intention. But you can place a lot of the torment certainly into a form of deep freeze. Now, other people, there's someone around you who is trying to who by their nature hinders you a little as much as they inspire you. These might be 2 different people. In fact, I think these are 2 different people, but they can be just a little bit fickle. But one of them brings victory to you, brings news and victory to you. One of them can just be a little bit hindering. So it's almost like that might be the influence that you want to put into the deep freeze. But you'll be amazed by the sudden changes that come around them, and how the information that they give you, even as they shoot off half-cocked on something else, you know, they've got their own goals, that brings you a form of victory. So I know that you fear that the world is not going to conform to that clarity that you had, to your will, to allow the magic that you picked up on to flow free, but you worry that it will fight you every way, and you worry that have you planned enough for it? Well, there's nothing wrong with reviewing your plans. Nothing wrong. Details, details. However, make the choice to go ahead with this, because it brings something back from the past while also bringing a most definite new beginning. We have the Fool twice here. You are not being foolish. You can't see the end goal because you are in the middle of the transformation, but keep going towards where you think you're going towards. And if your destination is different, it will become obvious, but do not go backwards. Do not back down. Just keep going forward strong. Because just because the world was not ready for your beautiful clarity and light, your job here is the propagation of light. So you were right to try and mold a higher dimensional will onto a situation, but it was right that it did not work at that point of time. That was the correct thing, because otherwise you'd have been quite complacent and not launched into this transformation that you have already set foot in. And that's why everything's a bit sort of panicky and oh my god, the fear, you know, there's but this is ending in a really important bit. This is, you come into your own power with the Lovers and the Magician here. You are recognized as coming into your own power, and with the forward movement, 3 of Pentacles, 3 of Coins, I also get forward movement in the material world, the earth element. But this is you learning to express you in the best way that you can. But bear in mind, the important phrase I used there was learning. So what it is today, it will be different tomorrow, and it will be different the day after. So if this means anything to you, Taurus, please do comment down below. Like I said, it's always good to receive your feedback. I've given you the like, share, subscribe speech. Please subscribe, and thank you to all the Taurians who've subscribed to me already. And I hope that this means that things have improved since my last monthly reading, where you needed to know where the threat was coming from. I think you've quite identified it in this reading, and now what you're doing is dealing with how it has inspired you. Cheers.